What's up, guys? This is a video I've been wanting to make for quite some time now. I've been wanting to talk about PC gaming and, well, pretty much the truth about it. I know there's a lot of rumors that goes around with people that don't know much about PC gaming. I'm here to shed some light on all this stuff. I'm going to talk about, here I have a list of 5 myths about PC gaming, 5 pros and 5 cons to PC gaming, and I'm going to talk about all of those things. Now, before I start, this is not a video saying that PC gaming is superior to any other kind of gaming. It's not at all. There's just a lot of things about PC gaming that people don't really understand or know about, and I'm going to point those things out. This is not, oh, PC gaming's better than everything else. No, that's not what this is. So, here we go. Alright, I'm going to start out with 5 myths. Number 1, PC gaming is dying. Yeah, as long as I can remember, PC gaming's been dying since the 80s, yet it's still here. Besides the PC exclusives, almost all multi-platform games are on PC as well. If PC gaming was dying, then a lot of these smaller companies that make parts, cases, motherboards, how would they be making it if PC gaming was dying? That makes no sense for anybody to say to me. Nvidia recently stated that they were doing great. AMD's not been doing so great lately, but I don't think that is anything to do with gaming in general. But yeah, PC gaming is not dying. How would Valve have enough money to try to make their own console if they weren't doing well? If that makes any sense to anyone. That's all I'm going to say about that. Number 2, you have to upgrade every time a new game comes out. Maybe back in the early mid 80s, or probably even the 90s as well, yeah, it was that bad. You had to upgrade constantly, and it was if I gamed on PC back then, I probably would lose interest in it because you had to upgrade so often. That's not the case anymore. You do not have to upgrade every game. Me, from personal experience, I have a CPU that was manufactured in 2009. It still plays everything I throw at it. I'm using a GTX 670 graphics card, and I do not plan on upgrading that probably until the 800 series comes out. The card is still awesome. It's still relevant. It still plays everything. The only thing I cannot play completely maxed out in 1080p is Crysis 3. I can only play it on high settings. I can't play it on very high, but on high settings I mostly play at 60 frames a second at 1080p. Now, that is not enough for me to consider an upgrade because honestly Crysis 3 is not that great other than the eye candy that it gives you. There's no reason to upgrade. So yeah, I still hear of people using GTX 460s, and those are quite a few years old now, and they say they still can play games just fine with those. And the only reason you would want an extremely powerful graphics card, or more than one graphics card, is if you are playing at resolutions above 1080p, which I myself don't see a point in doing. 1080p is just fine for me, or multiple monitors, which not everybody does either. And like I said about CPUs, I have an AMD Phenom 2 X6 1090Ti. Now, it is overclocked to 4 gigahertz, but it really wasn't necessary. I like to mess with stuff too much, I guess, and I went ahead and overclocked it to 4 gigahertz. I see a little bit of an improvement in games, but not really a ton. So yeah, but that thing is 4 years old now, and it still plays games just fine. Now, I'm not saying that a newer CPU won't perform better, which a lot of newer CPUs perform better, but for me, 1080p at 60 frames a second is just fine. If you're looking for more than that, then you might want something newer or more powerful, but the CPU I have, or even ones at a lower tier than that, will play most games just fine. Number 3, the biggest thing, the biggest complaint I hear from people that don't game on a PC is cost. Now, yes, you can spend thousands of dollars on a gaming PC. If you have the money, it's not very hard to do. But do you need it? Absolutely not. You can build a very capable gaming PC for around $400 to $500. My suggestion to someone building one, though, is to spend between $800 and $1,000 if they want to have a future-proof PC. But what you have to think about is, if you have a desktop PC that you just use for everyday use, and you also have a console, is the cost of those two things combined? Because on a gaming PC, you can do what both of those things do. Now you still can spend around $500 on a gaming PC, and it'd be pretty satisfied with it. But if you add the price of a desktop PC and a console, let's say what was the PS3 when it came out? Let's say a console costs $300 to $400, and a decent desktop costs about the same. You're looking at $800 to $900. If you put all that into a gaming PC, you have something that does all of those things. That's one way of looking at it. But you don't have to spend $2,500, $3,000 like some people do. You see a lot of that on the internet, but you see a lot of that on the internet because people are showing off something they're proud of that they built. Honestly, that's why you see it so often. I think my rig, when I originally built it, was around $600 to $700, and it was great. It would still be great if I didn't like to tinker with stuff so much. I've ended up spending around $1,500, but a lot of the stuff I have is unnecessary. I have a crap load of fans that I really didn't need. I have 3 terabytes of hard drive space, which most people don't need. I use my PC also as a media center, so that's why it has so much storage. The GTX 670, looking back now, I really didn't need the 4 gigabyte version, which would have probably saved me a few $100 there. So I didn't need a lot of this stuff. That's why I spent so much. But if you go, well, you got to know what you're looking for. First off, you can't just go and throw a PC together and expect to get the most for your money. You have to do your research. You have to find prices. You have to find sales, which is a lot of people don't want to do. And I understand. There's no problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. If what you feel like is playing on a console, I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. And I know picking out PC parts can be very intimidating. It was for me at first. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing when I originally started out, and that's probably how I ended up with so much stuff that I absolutely didn't need for my PC. I could probably build a PC around the same caliber for a few $100 cheaper now that I know what I'm looking for. Alright, number 4. All PC gamers are arrogant bastards. Yeah. If you deal with anything that has fans or a following, you're going to find a bunch of arrogant assholes who will defend it to their death. That's just how it is. That goes along with anything you can be involved in, any kind of hobby, any kind of brand. I cannot stand brand loyalty. It drives me insane. People will go to the point of just saying such hateful things to each other because they think a brand that has nothing to do with them, just because they own one of their products, is better than what someone else has. That's ridiculous. But you're going to find that with anything. Anything. Cars, brands of TVs, it just doesn't matter. Any kind of brand. Star Wars and Star Trek fans. People that's a fan of a series and another fan that's a fan of a different kind of series. Anything that has a fan base is going to have arrogant assholes. There's just no getting away with that. Then PC has a lot, consoles has a ton. They all have a lot. You're not going to get away from that, and that's not a very good excuse to damn something, in my opinion. Now, I haven't heard this myth very much, but I have heard it enough to mention it, is people that think that certain brands aren't compatible with the other. PC, everything goes by a standard, regardless of brand. I hear a lot that a AMD CPU will not work well with an NVIDIA graphics card, which I have an AMD CPU and an NVIDIA graphics card, and it works flawlessly, no problems. People think you have to spend extra money to get all the same brand of something. Hardly anything in my CPU is the same brand. I have an AMD CPU, an NVIDIA graphics card, an MSI motherboard. I have all NZXT fans. I have Seagate hard drives. Everything goes by a standard in PC gaming. Regardless of brand, they have to go by a standard. Otherwise, nobody will buy their product. If you have to buy everything the same brand. Now, moving on to the pros. Number one being is PC gaming is easier than it's ever been. You pretty much just plug things in, install the driver, and it works. I know in the past there have been problems with driver compatibility with games. Games just completely would not work. CPU drivers having problems with the game. Certain CPUs not working well with the game, which it still happens some, but it's not to the point where the game just won't work anymore. You'll have just performance differences that sometimes a game is developed and optimized more for a certain CPU, but it's not as prevalent as it used to be. AMD and NVIDIA both are constantly upgrading their graphics drivers for games. They are constantly making them better optimized for games. Even after the game has been out for a while, they try to increase the performance of the game with their products. So with that, with them going through great lengths to better optimize their drivers, things are becoming a lot easier. I think in the past year I've only had one compatibility problem, and that was only because my graphics driver was out of date. I had forgot to update it in about 2 months, and I think I was playing Battlefield 3 or something, and the ground was blank. It was just black, but that was my fault pretty much. This is also one of the myths, but I consider it a pro, is you do not have to upgrade very often like everybody thinks. Despite when NVIDIA or AMD comes out with new graphics cards, they keep throwing them in your face like you need this. You don't need to. You don't have to upgrade very often. In fact, you can go quite a few years without upgrading. That's a myth, but that's also one of the pros of it. You don't have to upgrade that often. Number 3 for pros, and this was a big selling point for me, is almost all multiplats that come out on PS3 and 360 also come out for PC. There are a lot of multiplats that I really enjoy. Yes, I missed out on the console exclusives. I'll talk about that more later on, but almost all the multiplats come out on PC, like BioShock, Red Faction, the Dirt series, stuff like that. Games that I love are also on PC, and that was a big selling point for me, and is for a lot of PC gamers as well. Number 4 for pros, this was also a big selling point for me. I know of a lot of PC elitists, those arrogant assholes you have a problem with. I like using my PC as a console. I prefer a controller and a TV. I don't like sitting directly in front of a monitor with a keyboard and mouse. Forgive me, I'm sorry, but I would rather sit on my couch and play games on my TV. Now, I do know and agree that keyboard and mouse is more accurate, but I don't play multiplayer games that much. I play mostly single player. So for me, it's more comfortable just to sit back and use my 360 controller and hook my PC up to my 42-inch TV and sit there and use it exactly as I would a console. So to me, that's a pro. A lot of people don't like to admit it, but that's how a lot of people game on PC nowadays. I know not the majority, but a lot do. Number 5 for pros. A lot of people are probably tired of hearing this, but mods. Mods are freaking awesome. Say after a game that's mostly based on single player, you beat the game. If there's not a lot of replay value, you're probably not going to play that game again. But if there's a lot of mods out there you can put on the game, you're probably going to play the game longer, especially in multiplayer games. People add a lot of mods to those, and it increases the longevity of the game, and it's just awesome. I mean, if you haven't tried out putting mods in a game like Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto, you definitely should. It's awesome. Now, moving on to cons. I would not be very truthful if I did not talk about negative aspects as well. So, number one, you're wanting a game on PC, but all of your friends that you play with online and go to their house and play have consoles. That's kind of a con if you have a lot of friends that play on consoles. And that would be enough of a reason for someone not to consider the switch to PC gaming, and it's completely understandable. You can't really, I mean, if a lot of your focus is multiplayer and playing with your friends that already have consoles, and you probably want to go ahead and just get yourself a console. For me and all my friends, we played multiplayer some, but we've always got together and just enjoyed single player games, taking turns playing on a single player game, so it really wasn't that big of a deal for me. Number two, if you want to build your own PC, you've got to be, not a lot, but just a little bit tech savvy. You can't, if you don't like tinkering with things, or if you're not very good at fixing things, you're just not very good with your hands in general, it's probably not the best idea for you to go playing around with $100 parts on a PC. Probably not the best idea. Now, you can buy PCs that are already built, like Alienware, but they are completely overpriced. If I couldn't build a PC on my own, pick out my own parts, I wouldn't even do it. So if you're not able to work on things like that on your own, I really don't suggest building a PC. Now, if you have the money to buy an Alienware PC or something like that, I just think they're completely overpriced compared to the performance. Then you should go ahead and do that. But I think you just need to be a little bit tech savvy to do this kind of stuff. Alright, number three on cons is you miss out on console exclusives. The biggest thing I miss from not having a PlayStation 3 anymore is Metal Gear Solid. I still get to play the ones on PS1 and PS2 because I have those consoles. I have tons of old retro consoles, but I don't have a current gen console anymore. When Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out, or whichever one's coming out for PS3, I'm probably going to have to get another PS3 just so I can play that game. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you do miss out on a lot of the console exclusives that you grew up with. PC does have quite a bit of exclusives itself, some very good ones in fact, but you do miss out on the console exclusives. Number four for cons, I cannot stress this enough, it's the money trap. Watch out for the money trap. PC there are constantly new parts, new graphics cards, new CPUs, always. And if you don't watch it, you'll end up overspending and not getting that much performance because you got the next big thing that came out. It'll get you. It's really hard. It's addictive buying parts for your PC after you've been doing it a while. It can be addictive for a lot of people, and you can end up spending way too much money. So I consider that a con of PC gaming, is the money trap. Just watch out, do not overspend, and do not give in to hype when it comes to a new part. Now, number five. I know some people will not consider this a con, which most people probably won't. But being as I was a console gamer for most of my life up until I built a PC a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think. It's digital distribution. I like to have a hard physical copy of a game, and even on PC I do it as often as I possibly can, even if it's just an installation disc. It's going to get to the point, even on console it's going to get to the point where there are no physical copies of games anymore. It's probably not going to be in the next 5 years. It may be even longer than that, but it's here and there's no escape from it. Digital distribution is here to stay. I would always, there usually is the option to get a physical copy of a game, but it's not always anymore. and they have made it to where it is easier to just get a digital copy of a game instead of finding a hard copy. I consider that a con. Most people won't, especially hardcore PC gamers, won't consider that a problem. But for me, as a collector, I would rather have a physical copy. That's it. That's all I have for this video. Like I said before many times, PC gaming's not for everybody. I don't look down on people who play on consoles at all. I would still enjoy playing on consoles. I even use my PC as a console. Like I said, I use a TV and a controller most of the time when I play on PC. So yeah, PC gaming is not for everyone. But if you are looking into doing such a thing, then perhaps this video was helpful to you. That was my main goal, is to help people understand better. So I thank you guys for watching my videos, and until next time.